Hi, I'm Deb Gorell, and I'm going to discuss the role of technological self-efficacy on instructors' use of educational technology. Advances in technology are requiring instructors to shift how they teach. And at the risk of dating myself, I'm willing to look back at just how far we've come. From chalkboards, to overhead projectors, to advanced presentation software, computers in the classroom, video presentations available at the click of a button, iClickers, websites, wikis, the list goes on and on. Without question, as an instructor today, I am aware of how these technologies are readily available to me, and I'm aware of the gifts that they have to offer, enhancing the speed of delivery, increasing student engagement. However, despite these advantages, I am wary. There are challenges associated with the use of educational technologies. Time, effort, power outages, unforeseen glitches that increase my anxiety level. In fact, I can think of several instances in which I have been most excited about the potential use of a new technology. For instance, in one class I thought, wouldn't it be great to have students develop an online avatar, write a blog as if they were a person from another culture. And my colleagues were most supportive and couldn't wait to see how it would turn out. They're still waiting. And I'm left to ponder, why did I not follow through with the use of that new technology? Well, as it turns out, I'm not alone in my avoidance. A study by the International Society for Technology and Education found that the majority of instructors use educational technology for very low-level purposes, providing students with opportunities to take surveys, for instance, or simply using those technologies to complement traditional lectures, as compared to using those technologies for higher-level purposes, active, student-centered learning activities. But why? Well, a review of the literature reveals several factors that predict the use of educational technologies by instructors. For example, and not surprisingly, to the extent that one is familiar with and believes in the effectiveness of traditional teaching technologies, that actually predicts lower levels of use of new technologies. In addition, to the extent that one lacks knowledge about how to use a certain technology, that also is associated with less likelihood of using that technology, and that's not too surprising. And that's referred to as technological literacy. Now, colleges and universities clearly are trying to address a lack of technological literacy by developing extensive training programs for instructors, giving them opportunities to learn how to use technologies. But as it turns out, knowledge is not enough. Recent research has found that a better predictor of an instructor's use of new educational technologies is not knowledge, but it's how confident the instructor feels that they will be able to successfully apply that knowledge. And this ties into the concept of self-efficacy. Now, Bandura defines self-efficacy as the belief in one's capabilities to organize and execute the sources of action required to manage prospective situations. In other words, do you believe you can do it? And they've extended this concept to that of technological self-efficacy, which is generally defined as one's self-confidence in their own abilities to utilize various technologies effectively. So, for instance, to the extent that one has a high degree of technological self-efficacy, they would be inclined to agree with the following statements. I feel confident I can consistently use educational technology in effective ways. Or I feel confident that I will be comfortable using technology in my teaching. Now, a review of Bandura's model reveals that it makes sense that one's beliefs in their ability to use these technologies would predict the extent to which they're willing to try them. Consider this. According to Bandura's model, self-efficacy actually has very specific consequences with respect to how much effort we're willing to put into something. And it also predicts our emotional reaction. So for instance, how much anxiety do you have in relation to a certain task? And those consequences in turn predict one's behaviors, one's actions. So for instance, are we willing to initiate or try out something? And also, those same consequences predict the extent to which we are successful in completing those tasks. As it turns out, research supports or is consistent with Bandura's model. Specifically, research shows that self-efficacy is a better predictor than knowledge of how to use educational technology as to whether or not somebody's going to actually use them. So the question then becomes, is there a way to enhance an instructor's self-efficacy so that we can increase their use of educational technologies? Well, a review of the antecedents in Bandura's model might give us some ideas about where to start. For instance, performance accomplishments. Not surprisingly, to the extent that an individual has had past successes in using something or performing a certain task, that's associated with higher degrees of self-efficacy in that area. So those are performance accomplishments. In addition, vicarious experiences, watching other people do something successfully in a certain area, also can serve to enhance our own self-efficacy with respect to that same task. Verbal persuasion, which refers to reminders of our own skills and abilities, also can serve to enhance self-efficacy. And finally, physiological and affective states. In other words, how do we feel emotionally about a certain task? To the extent that we feel calm and comfortable, that's associated with an enhancement in self-efficacy. To the extent that we feel nervous, agitated, that's associated with lower levels of self-efficacy. So now the question is this: is it possible to alter these antecedents in such a way that we enhance instructor self-efficacy in the use of technology? Well, research suggests that yes, it is possible. Now, it's not to say that training or advances in technological literacy aren't still important. Clearly, that is going to be associated with feelings of confidence as well. However, research suggests that the antecedents in Bandura's model can also be used to further enhance self-confidence that instructors have when it comes to using new technologies. For instance, some research shows that enhancing performance accomplishments, specifically in relation to the use of new technologies, is associated with increased self-efficacy and increased use of technologies. So in other words, what these studies have done is given instructors opportunities to play around with the technology, not just acquire knowledge, but actually have some fun with it and see what they could possibly do with that. That also, of course, is going to mean that they can practice, but any mistakes they might make don't have any real consequences because they're in a safe environment. In addition, other studies suggest that vicarious experiences can also enhance self-efficacy when it comes to technological self-efficacy. So for instance, a study by Wang in 2005 gave instructors the opportunity to watch on a CD-ROM that was created for purposes of the study, gave instructors the opportunity to watch other instructors effectively utilizing different technologies in their classroom. And by watching what other people were doing and using them successfully, that was associated with higher levels of self-efficacy in the instructors that were observing, and also predicted their likelihood of using those same technologies down the road. Finally, other research supports the role of verbal persuasion in enhancing technology. So specifically, reminding instructors of the existing skills and abilities that they already have that might be extended or generalized to the use of these new technologies also has been found to enhance self-efficacy and increase instructors' use. So the take-home message is this: when it comes to enhancing the use or increasing the use of instructors, the instructors' use of new technologies, without question, advancements in technological literacy are important to consider. But maybe we're overlooking using some resources to also enhance instructors' self-efficacy. As the research supports, maybe it's not what you know, but how you see yourself that is the best determinant of whether or not you're going to use these new technologies. Food for thought. Thank you.